Haja.
Haja. Did he say
Let's
Haja?
do it? Yeah.
Boy, that was
It's like,
Haja.
let's do it.
I guess I should say that at the beginning.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's what I
Haja.
wanted. So that's
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by three Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean, American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Janchi Show. It's your boys, KJ, Nathan, and Patrick. Patrick just glugging down some water.
I didn't realize I was going to be so
Just
loud.
some
It was like,
ASMR
wow.
action right there.
We go ahead and mute that. Take another swig.
Amazing. Yeah, this is our first time back doing a regular old solo when we're in our more traditional format, and also the first time in like a month that we've done a solo, because the last time we did this, Patrick was about to go to Korea. And since then, he went to Korea. We had a live show. Life has continued.
We talked about
People
it.
have voted.
People have voted.
Yeah, we probably know the results of that by now.
I hope so.
I don't know.
We're recording the day before, so
Yes.
we can't say anything. And you're hearing this, honestly, me bringing it up and be like, oh yeah, that happened like a week ago. So
Yeah, there's no spoilers.
hopefully the world is okay and we've not just descended into chaos. But yeah, how are you guys? How are you doing?
I'm
tired. Yeah, I was gonna say Patrick looks tired. I mean, technically, I know the listeners can't see, but both of your houses are very dark right now, so it's like that we're recording this at night.
It's dark out.
Yeah,
What's
Remember when we
also,
recorded
like-
with Michelle Lee and we watched it get slowly darker?
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just tired. I just got a lot going on, and this move is taking it out of me, I think, in a good
Sure.
way. But it's just like, oh, there's one other thing to be packed. And
Do
I will say
you
that I probably
have
underestimated
movers?
the amount of packing that was needed to be done.
it seems to be a trend with moving. I think I always underestimate the boxes, and B, the amount of time it takes to actually pack the moving truck. That is also very always not very accurate, I feel.
I hired people for that.
Yeah.
I've moved too many times in my life to want to do it again.
Good luck then. I hope it all works out. I wish I could send you some boxes.
Oh, we could use them. So
Yeah.
no,
Found
I
it
got
being-
boxes, but my sister-in-law needs them. But
That's
she
all right.
has
We can
boxes
get our
in
own
her
boxes.
attic, so if you want random attic boxes,
are they filled with static things?
no, they're totally empty. We were just
Okay.
like, what are they doing up here?
Are they broken down or are they
No, yeah,
formed
they're
up?
broken down.
Oh, okay. Maybe. Let's talk after the show.
That's what we're here. We're building community. We're trying to figure out how we can support each other from distance. Actually, now that we're here though, I do happy it's National Adoption Awareness Month, or it's National Adoptee Awareness Month, or it's National Adoption Month. Apparently there's lots of ways to call it.
Or
I've seen it
international.
international.
International, yeah.
Oh yeah, wait,
That
what?
was a tie.
Yeah. Okay. There's whatever. It's
It's
adoption
like the
plus month.
AAPI, AANHPI situation.
It
It's
is.
a lot of different acronyms.
It's starting to feel like we should just add a plus and be like, I don't know if the
Non-plus.
queer and trans folk get exclusive privileges to the plus with all of their things, but can we just add a plus to this month? November.
Yeah.
Can we
Well, I
call it,
didn't know
November
that
plus? Subscribe for $6 a month.
November Plus.
Yeah.
Subscribe for exclusive adoptee content.
For
So
$6 a day, because it's only
I actually
1 month.
didn't know that this month was actually initiated by President Clinton. So
As a-
back in
in its month
1998
form,
as an
yes.
entire month-long event.
Back in 1998.
98. So that was kind of interesting, but I'm glad, I'm sure it's changed a lot since then, but especially over the last couple of years. I mean, I know we can't really talk about it because we've only really participated in the last couple of years, but
I was not participating at 8 years old. That is for sure.
in 1998, you were 8.
Yeah, I was 5.
Oh, God, I'm old.
I was
were
like, look at
28.
this. Look
I
at
was
this
in college. I was
He
in
was
college, if
84
that makes
in
you feel any
98.
better.
It does. It does.
Yeah. It's okay. Moving on.
I feel like the last 2 years, we kind of really ran into it. Came in celebrating hard, I think.
This month?
Yeah, this month. I feel like last year for sure. I don't know. I'm not sure about year one, but this year I feel like we're just we're getting to it when we get to it, and that's okay.
This year, yeah, life is just like particularly busy, and it's funny too because like I don't know, the first year was like right after, it was like 2 months after we started the show, so I feel like we were.
That's true.
You were definitely, I think, more aware of it, Patrick, than either of us were, but I just feel like it was like very. Oh yeah, we got to do this, and I was like, yeah, and we're gonna do like I don't know, whatever. It was very like adoptee focused, and then the next year, Nathan, you did it, and then this year I was like, maybe I'll do it. I'm not.
You did one thing.
So
Yeah, you did.
You have a second thing coming out.
I do. Yes, I have a single dropping in 3 days. So unless I forgot the date, the release date, but
is there anything you can?
Yeah,
well, I guess
give us a preview.
give us a
Yeah,
preview
so
of it,
actually-
because by the time
actually-
it releases, it's already going to be out. So
that's
No,
true.
it's- Oh wait,
No, that's not true.
yeah, 3 days from when this episode is out, right?
Yes.
Yes.
oh, okay.
So for everyone listening, I'll write this up too, but I'm really excited about the song because it's called Weary. The whole idea is like, with as much as I have gone through, and I can safely say the three of us have gone through in the past 2 years with our identities, with this journey, with thinking through who we are and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to have to continually update your mental model of who you are. It's exhausting to continually have to update your mental model of like how you relate to people, how you relate to like your loved ones, how you relate to new people, like all of those things. And so I just wrote the song. I was like, guys, I'm tired. And I wish I didn't have to keep doing this. I wish I didn't have to, like, because I know that the change never stops. And I know that like it's important and good for me to keep doing this stuff. But also I just want to voice that it's exhausting work and it's tiring work. So that's kind of the heart and soul of the song.
Did you write it recently? Is this based on recent stuff, or has it been like something you've been kind of working to? Like,
yeah. So I wrote this. I think I first probably penned it in 21. In the probably maybe actually right about a year ago. And so I had just moved to Dallas and just gotten settled in my apartment, and it was deep in my feels, and it was technically autumn, but it was very hot still, and like all this kind of stuff. So and then I just like got to work the music, and every time I felt like I've got these sections and I like these ideas, and this one section kind of comes out of the blue, and I was like, what? Like, that doesn't feel right. And so I kind of finessed that down. So, and then I just sat on it because I think by the time I really got it to a place where I was happy with it, it didn't feel right to release. And so I think coming back to this moment, it's similar, it's different. Like the world has revolved around the sun once more, but it's not exactly the same point in time and space, Sure. So it still resonates with me, which I think is actually really exciting that I do get to release this and a year on from my own creation, be like, yeah, this feels good. So I'm really excited to share it with the world. I'm excited to share it with everyone. And I'm really grateful for my collaborators, specifically Stephanie Hassey from Springfield, being able to collaborate remotely. She played some of the keys for it and things, and just like, again, just that like digital community. I mean, we were friends in person, obviously, when we lived in the same town, but just being able to stay connected with the internet and to continue to build these relationships and things and collaborate and be creative. It's been real fun. So
I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah, that'll be neat. But and Patrick, I know you've been posting a few things though. You said for NAAM you haven't really, like last year you weren't as active, or I feel like you're more active this year.
Well, I've been participating in this. Since there's been 100 days left in 2022, I've been participating in this LinkedIn thing where I post every day to try and post once a day. And it's like an accountability thing with a group of people. And it just so happens November falls at the end of the month in the last 100 days of the year, if you can believe that. And
what?
I said end of the month, but I meant end of the year. So I just moved to the end of the year.
That's fine. Sure.
I transitioned the metaphor to be correct.
You transitioned
know.
the statement to be an accurate statement. He's tired. He's busy
tired.
moving.
What was the question? No. Yeah, I've just been I feel like I've been digging a little bit deeper this year. I think last year I was still scratching the surface. I think it was obviously pre-acceptance, like still working through reclamation, and like coming to this month now in this version of acceptance, especially post Korea, having went a little bit further, as I talked about in the live show, has just led me to, I don't know, just I don't, yeah, I'll say I'll leave it at dig deeper. I think just trying to touch on some stuff that I either don't talk about enough or stuff that I feel like is really important that we should be talking about. And then just the ever so often dabblings of what I'm doing out in the world, whether it's speaking at a college to some students or to adoptive parents, which I got to do, which was really cool to do in November. I don't know. It just felt like I haven't had a lapse in content, I guess I should say, or inspiration to write about this year. As maybe last year I did.
Well, and you've got that discipline too, and I think like the first, I'm sure, it'll hit its moment of like, this is a real slog, but like the discipline of writing, like that's the thing that I struggle with, is like, because it's not a rhythm for me, is I have to like really choose to create that time and really like put forth that energy. And so like, I think anyone who creates content on the daily, it really is a discipline. Even if you don't think it is, even if it's like, well, I really enjoy it or whatever, but like it's true, it's a discipline and a choice to set that time out, to put things into the world and whatever, and I think once you do it regularly, then you like kind of let the subroutines take over, and like it becomes habitual, and it's a little bit easier maybe to dig deeper, or just to like, just to do the thing, So
yeah, I think having written once a day for 30 days prior really, like you said, set those habits in motion. And I don't know, I guess just prepped me and primed me for November to really dig into the wellspring and shoot out the water of knowledge, I guess. Nice. I don't know.
Well, you can call Patrick
definitely deeper.
Faithful.
I noticed it's deeper, and instantly you notice that too, because your every profile photo is this.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
For the listeners at home, that's my look. It's the finger gun beneath the chin.
It's the finger gun. I'm thinking very look. Deeply about this question and statement.
I don't know, yeah. And some of them, it's like, I don't know what. Honestly, I'm going to write about that at some point. I know for sure, because I think for a long time I didn't like the way I looked, and I wouldn't like to post pictures of myself. And I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day. I was looking at my profile and I was like, dude, there's a lot of pictures of yourself on here now. It's like, you never used to do that. And I'm like, well, maybe I think that's again, that self-acceptance, like, comes with confidence and, I think being okay with all of that. So like, I guess so. Yeah, it's been fine.
Has the not liking how you looked, was that a part of your like Asianness specifically, or is it like I don't know what to do with my face in photos?
I think probably both. I think it has to do with a little bit of shyness for sure, of like not knowing how to socially be in a photo, like candidly. And then, yeah, definitely part of that, just dislike of my own ethnicity, growing up. And so, yeah, that's a good answer I gave, I think.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place tonight. Sorry, boys.
You're doing great. I know you're struggling and you're doing great. Like, for the listeners at home, every time Patrick is not talking, and even when Patrick is talking, his eyes are closed. So,
I think that, here's the thing. I think that another thing that's been allowing me to like write, not better, but just differently, has been that all of my, I think, energy has been so intensely focused on this. I just talked about how we've not done this for a month. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I can think about, I maybe sat down and recorded once or twice in that time with Jerry for Dear Asian Americans. And then we just haven't, like, I literally feel like I've had no time. I know I've rescheduled with you guys multiple times. And it just feels like, I don't know, I think that all of that energy has went to just the writing portion. And like, I'm pouring it all out there. And now I'm getting back on the mic and I'm like, yep. I'm like, uh-huh. So I apologize. We'll get into it though. It's only 14 minutes, so I'm getting my brain going. I'll get my brain going.
Honestly, the writing you could do in your sleep is better than the writing I could do for weeks. So
That's not true. That's not true. Damn, that was
Where's the self-love, Nathan?
No,
Come on,
no,
man.
no.
That's not true.
Some people are good at writing. Some people are not. I know I am not. But
You're good at cooking.
I'm good at cooking. I did do a little writing. It wasn't much. It was for Cosette and Zoe's page. They
I saw your thing pop up on there.
Yeah, so I thought that was
you wrote.
We got
made a couple posts, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it
So
was
far?
navigating. So their Instagram is navigating adoption, and they just asked for submissions on stuff. And I just thought I'd write a little thing about the month and about how I want to make sure I'm feeling like I'm doing enough. Because sometimes I don't feel like I just didn't want to feel like I have to be pressured to do too much or too little. And I think other people probably feel that as well.
Oh, so do you mean like when you say you want to feel like you're doing enough, like you want to feel satisfied with however much you're doing, not
Yes.
like I see.
Yeah,
that
sometimes
level of acceptance.
Exactly,
Of
like self-acceptance of am I doing enough? I mean, because I know so many people are doing a lot more, and it's just especially since we see all of that being on the show and interviewing people, and we see Jerry sitting there talking with Kamala Harris. We see Patrick running off to multiple locations
with his finger gun beneath his
finger
chin.
gun quotes. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. So I try not to compare myself because I know I got a busy life, and I think a lot of people are the same way. I mean, they may see a million posts, and they might feel pressured to have to do something, but I tried to just make sure that everyone knows that they don't have to do stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's a big fear, or maybe not a fear, but I think that's a feeling that I've been seeing permeate through the community. I've seen a lot of posts that are like encourage you to do it at your own pace.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, not that they're telling you have to do this, but it's like, here's the bingo card, and here's the 30 days of prompts, and then here's 30 days of questions.
Yeah,
and then,
with my words, do what you will. With my actions, I'm going to do everything. And you're like,
it just feels like you can, like you said, the pressure of being like, which one I be doing? If I'm not doing this one and I'm doing this one, is somebody going to be mad? Like that kind of sucks. It kind of takes the fun out of, or not that the month should be fun, but it takes away, I think, from what the month should be anyways. And like you said, it's coming to this in your own time, and maybe all you do is lurk and you just learn and read and listen. And so I think that's a real pressure that a lot of people are feeling, and want to echo that as well. Like, it's all good if you do nothing. Take a book, take a play out of KJ's book, just one post, get out of here. That's so.
I literally, So I
make a song.
I wrote
and
this,
drop it later.
and then make a song and release it a year
easy.
later. Just sit on it for forever. I wrote that post on NAAM, whatever, and on this month. And like I had to remember like what my statement of intent was. So it was like in direct relation to Mindy Sona's Choi's 30 days of prompts. And I just said, I will not be writing 30 days of posts. First
and I won't be doing it in order.
I will not go in order. I will not write about everything. But I think the two that were most important for me, like the other ones are for kind of like other people. Cause I was like, let me just like set the bar really low. Like if you get even one more post out of me, that's a home run.
Right. You get a certificate.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
KJ to write 2 posts.
But the last two, I think, were important for me, Nathan, in a similar way that you were saying about like feeling like however much I do is fine. I wrote, I will not be disappointed in myself if this is the only article I write. And I will not back down from centering myself in the context of these articles as insofar as they are self-centered. And I think that that's important too. Like being able to center yourself in your own story, I think as adoptees is something that that's a skill that we have to work extra hard at. And that's actually probably, I do plan on writing another thing probably in conjunction with my song. So going on record, there's at least one more post coming. But I think it is like, it's important to say, like, I think we as adoptees, unless we're in a particular career path or hobby trajectory, whatever, where practice the art of centering yourself and like centering yourself in your own story, like adoptees kind of start at a disadvantage with doing that. And it can create some cognitive dissonance to say like, this is my story and this is what I'm going to say. I'm sorry if that particular phrase triggered any Christians into a hymn. I definitely just like went there and got distracted with my own phrasing, but I think it's important to be able to do that and do that unapologetically, you know, because I think that is a part of finding our voice. And I think that is a part of us like loving ourselves. And I think like ultimately, I think the thing that I hear time and time again is adoptees need to learn how to love themselves, but also like learning to love yourself starts with like focusing on yourself. Like there are I don't know that there's any type of love that occurs or that can occur if you're not like, if that thing is not at some point the object of your attention.
Right.
And I think because we have so much trauma and so much grief and so much, you know, whatever, just in our past, whether we realize it or not, it then becomes hard to focus on ourselves, because when we focus on ourselves, we see all of that, you know, it, like there's a whole long list of things, you know. So Patrick, like you were saying earlier, like I didn't like looking at myself in pictures. I didn't like looking at myself in a mirror, partially because of like shy, what do I do with my body, but also partially because of like some self-hate and some self-loathing. I totally feel that. And I'm like, for me, the next phase of that is like, can I take pictures of myself where I don't just choose to act goofy? Because even like when I choose to act goofy, I'm like, well, I'm choosing to act goofy. So if someone comes at me and says like, hey, you look goofy, then you're like, well, but yeah, those but are my favorite ones. That. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But like, actually, can I take photos of myself that I am proud of? And it's not like me and Sarah, and it's not like me doing a thing. It's just actually just like me, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So
yeah, I think you hit it on the head, honestly, that it's just so important for us to be able to center ourselves, because at the end of the day, like the best way you can show up for other people in the community, or just other people in your lives, is by taking care of yourself first. You're not going to be able to show up in the best way possible if you can't show up for yourself in that same way. And I think especially for adoptees, you know, it goes all the way back to all of that trauma, all of that being reinforced by either our families or our communities, whether well-intentioned or not, you know, just over and over again, making it feel like, you know, either it's our fault or not good enough or whatever the case might be, in order to feel like, and it just takes us out of feeling like we can do things for ourselves. Essentially, that's what I was trying to say. It's like, it makes us feel like we have to do everything for others. I think that's why empathy is such a big trait or common trait within our community. And unfortunately, it's hard for us, like you said, to turn that inward. And so if we can do that, you know, then not only are we able to be the best versions of ourselves, or at least find our way towards that, we can then show up and be the best version of ourselves in the community and do greater things together.
Yeah, I wonder also if any of it has to do with the assimilation that we kind of went through as kids and as youth, trying to not stand out, trying to fit in and be like everyone else. We didn't voice our opinions. We weren't loud. We weren't, you know, telling our stories. And I think now with all the changes that have happened, I think more people are seeing that no, they need to be loud. We need to be voiced, you know, have our voice heard. And so, yeah, it's not really, I mean, we can still assimilate by being, you know, friendly in the society and the community and doing all that other stuff. But, you know, I think we need to also stand out in our own selves and our own personalities.
Well, that definitely is a piece of it, the assimilation part, because you put on a performance. I just wrote about this and had a conversation about this with a friend of mine who's also an adoptee. He's Black, domestic, but transracial adoptee. And we were just talking about how, like, I went to Korea, and where he just moved to, we could be and just exist, and like, and not put on the performance of like trying to fit in or trying to be not yourself, essentially, that you do for so long that you don't realize that you are doing. And then like for me in Korea, it was just like, it just at one point just clicked. I'm like, oh, I'm not acting the way that I feel like I always do. And it was like, for the first time I realized, oh, that performance, I stopped performing. And even going through reclamation, finding acceptance, self-acceptance, I was still be doing that to a certain degree. And I know that I do when I go out and do certain things or hang out with old friends or things like that. But yeah, because we are because we were either told and positioned to assimilate, or because we did that because it was the only way we could see to survive our surroundings or make do with where we were in our circumstances. It forces us to. I described it as like wearing masks, and maybe that is a case, or it is that to a certain degree. But I think at the end of the day, it's more of a performance, not necessarily a mask per se, but it's a whole persona that you wear. That's not necessarily you. It's just who you feel like you have to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that is the performative nature of code switching. I mean, it makes me think of like Japanese kabuki theater. Not that I have done any research on this, but like as other early forms of theater, like in order to like change characters, they would literally have masks. You know what I mean? Like that is like then there become more subtle ways of acting and more subtle ways of cluing in the audience to like, hey, I'm actually coded this way, and so you're able to like suspend this disbelief and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think especially when Nathan, to your point, like when you're given the narrative so often of like, well, this is how you are and this is your story and whatever, then like it doesn't leave any room for you to find your voice because you're so busy, especially when you're young and you're developing. Like if you're like a baby adoptee or a younger adoptee, then it's like you only have that story. And so you're like, I don't know. I mean, like my parents know everything, I guess. So until you get to the level in your brain development that you can begin to question those things, and you're just like, I don't know, this is just the mold I have to fit into, and whatever. And my wife had the opportunity to meet another Korean adoptee while she was working, and she was just like commenting on how the way he spoke about himself and is like in the family dynamics, because he's like, I don't know, like maybe 11 or something. Like, but being married to me, having been a part of my journey and listening to the show and all that kind of stuff, and then meeting this young Korean adoptee, she was just like, it was just so wild. Because I was like, on the one hand, I hear him saying all the things that you talk about in past tense. And on the other hand, I'm like, is he going to go through what we, the Janchi Boys, are going through, have gone through, what so many other adoptees, transracial, domestic, whatever, have go through to some extent, so yeah, it's just a wild time.
I think to that though, that just made me think of something. Like, I think why it's so important that we have these conversations to either adoptive parents or prospective adoptive parents, because as I think we've talked about this on the show before, but like if we were to mentor younger adoptees or like just come across them in the wild, like what do you say? Like, like it's like, I want to be like, hey, you're set up for failure potentially.
You feeling that trauma yet? And they're like,
in 10 years, maybe.
All these things that you're thinking, you're gonna definitely deal with them in a little bit, and then, but it's like you don't want to, like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, you don't want to be the one to put people into that cognitive.
And again, I think our whole thing is like adoptees, are going to come to this at their own time. We just talked about it for NAAM. Like, you're going to do what you want to do when you want to do it, and that's okay too. But like when I was just doing this last event, and that was all adoptive parents, like I did feel like it felt good to do that, because I did feel like we were just trying to show different perspectives of what an adoptee can become or would go through, and then aftermath or an outcome of that experience, and then really impressing upon them like, but this is one experience, and I think that as much as adoptees, we can talk to other adoptees and be like, hey, prep them per se for the Great Awakening or coming out of the fog. Like, it's almost, I think, more important for how the system's set up now to be able to reach those adoptive parents, those people outside of that community who are like, oh, I need to recognize these signs so I can be prepared to support them in whatever way I need to be there for them. So
did any of the parents push back any, like, oh no, that's not going to happen to me because of this or that, or are they all pretty receptive of everything that everyone was saying?
No, I mean, it seemed pretty receptive. I think the biggest, so being there virtually and they're all in there in person, like it's hard to read like an audience reaction,
Yeah.
So I can't say specifically. I mean, we got good feedback afterwards too from the students who were hosting the event, But no pushback. I thought they asked some really thoughtful questions, and some that are pretty obvious. But the one that I liked the most was just what if I could go back to when I was 13 and talk to my parents at that time, what would I tell them to do that I didn't have before, essentially? What would I have them do differently?
Ooh.
And I thought it was a really good question, because at the end, and my answer at the end of the day was provide opportunity to engage with culture specifically, but also be actively participating in that engagement as well, like showing interest and being willing to do that. Because you could have given me all the opportunities and I may still have denied them. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But like, I didn't even have the opportunity. I didn't even know the opportunity existed. So I think I was glad that question was asked and I was able to respond in that way, because I think that's really important, is like, you have to provide the opportunities at the very least. And if they don't take the opportunities, okay, like you'll work through it as you go along. And but that's, you gotta at least provide them the opportunity, because it's the bare minimum, I think, that you can do. And then from there, you can just grow and build, because you walk through that path together.
Yeah. Nathan, what would you say to your parents when you were 13?
I mean, that's all of what Patrick just said. I think that's a very good answer. I mean, again, I didn't know that there were camps in Tulsa. And my parents, I don't think, knew that there were camps. And if they had known, again, like you said, I might have just said, no, I'm not interested, because I wasn't interested in the, Asian Pacific Islander club in Colorado State in college even. So, even though I might not have fit in there, but, back in the day, I might not have felt like I would have fit into that either. So, because I was trying to not stand out, I was trying to, kind of be something other than what I was. But who knows? Maybe enough of them asking me eventually would have gotten me to do it. I mean, because I went to other camps, I went to other events, and I love to socialize. I love to hang out with people and meet new people. So I wasn't an introvert. I wasn't going to be, I probably wouldn't have shied away from it. But it would have been nice to know that there was that opportunity to meet some other, not just, Korean Americans, but some, Korean adoptees as well. So.
Well, I think the context of time too, like, obviously, I don't think any of our parents probably were told by the agencies to do anything other than assimilate. I know that my parents weren't. I have the literature that basically states those things, like those propagandist type of adoption agency literature that you'll see on just in random books and whatnot. But, when they're told that you should go the other way, obviously that's what they're going to do. Why would they think any differently? And so there's not only the time context, but the systemic issue as well. Like, as much as we can say to provide them the opportunities, if people are making it, if governments are making it harder to find those type of educational resources and things like that, there's other issues at play. And so the best we can do is give advice, and then on the other side of it, working together and as hard as we can to try and affect the system in a way that allows those opportunities to actually exist.
And I never gave my parents any clue that anything was wrong either.
100%.
I was very just doing my thing, playing sports, there was never anything that said, hey, maybe you should look into, this, because you might be, appear sad or depressed or something like that. There was never something that gave them any hints. So I definitely don't blame them.
Did you feel that though?
At times I would say, but who knows what that was from? I mean, you're a teenager, you're trying to, belong in high school. You might've been beat up or gotten into a fight, but was it racially motivated? Yes, no, maybe. I mean, I do remember sometimes that were racially fights that I had, and specifically in Boy Scouts. I had a couple instances where, I was called racial names, and so I'm sure they were there, but I probably glossed over them and just ignored them. And
when people tell you too, like, well, you probably just took that the wrong way, or they didn't mean it in that way. They were just joking, like that too. Like, will set your mindset to think, okay, I'm the problem, or
not even that, but like when you're that young, it'll be like, well, you should just they said
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah,
you say
exactly.
I forgive you, and
I
then
don't wanna
move
make it a big
on.
deal.
And
Exactly.
there's actually no training of like, actually, if this becomes a pattern of behavior, stop forgiving the person. Like,
Right.
it is no longer on you to forgive that person. Like,
Right.
that's their apology is meaning, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's that whole, yeah.
Feel like that's changing too, though, in more recent years, that a lot more awareness of things like that are becoming public, and people are speaking up even in high school and about bullying or seeing other people get bullied or have racial instances or microaggressions and stuff. I think people are speaking up more now, which I think is great. But yeah, back then I don't think it was the focus.
Yeah.
So
For me, I really love this question. I think it's really good. Literally the first thing I thought of, what would you tell your parents when you were 13, was put me in therapy. That was, I think, one of the darkest moments in my life was middle school, like specifically 5th and 6th grade. Really, 5th through 9th grade was a hard ass time. And I had it was just a hard time. And some of the things that I would think about still stay with me, just as moments of like, God, I was in a dark place. And I don't think I knew that I could say I was thinking about these things. I don't think I knew that I could express them. 'Cause I mean, generally in 2022, mental health is more widely talked about. So already the progression of time and of society is helping things. But for me in the early 2000s, I would have said, put me in therapy. 'Cause my parents did a really great job. And I've talked about this before. They had done a really great job, helping me celebrate Korea and being Korean. But for me, as a reaction to my own life, the things that were missing, I think, were therapy and the language to express myself. And I think I don't know. I know that this is a thing that all parents and all people responsible for raising young people, this is a tension that we wrestle with. It was how do you make a safe space? How do you teach a child it is okay, it is right and good to express these kinds of things? I know that that's just a hard thing. But so therapy would have helped. But also for me, because I did have that celebration of Korean culture, I wish also that I had more intersectional education, Asian American history, and Black American history, and all those kinds of things. Just and an ability to think that way and consider hey, dude, not only are you Korean, not only are you disabled, also you are Asian American, and that means things. And that, to be fair, I think that meant less in the early 2000s, or it certainly meant differently than it does now, post COVID and those kinds of things. And so, because that was always the bit that I felt was missing, was I need specifically Asian American community, not just Asian community, immigrant community, not just international community, we're all people of the world kind of stuff, but specifically that kind of thing. So, but yeah, therapy was the one that really jumped out to me. Because it's hard. I mean, I think you can do all things right. And Patrick, you haven't listened to this episode yet, but with Shanae, we were talking about, in our last episode, we were talking about how she had to be careful how she would talk about adoption, because she would speak to it from her own perspective, and some of the kids that she was with are adopted, and they'd be like, oh, I don't feel that. And actually
Sure.
Parents are doing better and they are listening. And so the things that our community has done have helped, which is really wonderful. And I am excited to continue to push that forward. And so there is kind of we have to be careful how we talk about things, and we can't just assume all the, kinds of things or whatever. So
Sure.
There's more resources now. I mean, there's also, age. We're not ageist, I know, but we're
age aware,
and there are different resources at different, to different adoptees and the way they were raised and where they were raised. The internet was not around when I was being raised, so things like that. I didn't have any resources other than the library, And so now I think there are more, there's podcasts, there's books, there's TV shows. I mean,
There's Patrick Armstrong going places.
There's
and
Patrick in the
speaking.
world. So yeah.
I think
go ahead.
Better stuff. No, I'm just saying it's good.
Yeah, I think that it's important for us right now to be modeling to younger adoptees that when we talk about our own experiences, we're talking about our own experiences and not like speaking for the community or trying to speak for even a sect of the community. At the end of the day, we can have similar themes. I think that's a repeated mantra of mine, but all of our experiences are very different. And I share your joy and your hope and your excitement for younger kids who are already having these conversations, because that's something I've really been thinking about a lot lately, especially with some of the people who are in our Indiana group, some of the younger adoptees who are 19, 20 and having these conversations with their parents. And I think that, what we're doing right now is super important, because I think we came up with a lot of other adoptees who kind of awoke at the same time, and we're all sharing, and we're creating more counter narratives, we're creating more different communities and more nuanced community, and we're sharing those conversations with ourselves, and we're starting to knock on the doors of people outside of our community and for changing their minds, which is what's really going to create the changes we want to see. And while we are knocking on those doors, it's those kids 10 years younger than us, 15 years younger than us, who are going to knock the doors down and be having those conversations, making that change. And so while it is a ways off, I am very encouraged that it's very possible for that to happen sooner rather than later. And so that does make me very excited as well. Just hearing younger kids be like, oh yeah, I've been talking about my identity to my parents all the time. And I'm like, what? I was like, I'm like, that's awesome. I didn't even know what the word identity meant when I was your age. This is amazing. So gets me very hyped to see the young folks out here having these conversations and talking about it more intelligently than I. So very exciting.
Yeah.
End of show. End of speech.
Well,
Ron
okay.
Swanson.
I wanted to transition. It is related and adjacent to what we were talking about, because I realized in the midst of recording our live show how difficult what we do is, and how I don't think I could do this if it had to be live in front of a studio audience or whatever, like a week in and a week out. And I think we really benefit from the medium of podcasting, because it is a really it's a really vulnerable look and an opportunity to be the fly on the wall in some of the conversations that we're having. Because I can imagine, if the three of us met and lived near each other, this is just conversations we'd be having in our living room over some type of alcohol, maybe soju, probably just Bud Light or whatever, but and these conversations are important. And when we were doing the live shows, especially in the morning when my family was there, and my friends were there, and I was like, let me be clear. When specifically white people were there, I was like, oh man, this actually changes how I think about what we're doing in the moment. And I was like, and I felt myself getting away from kind of what we do as a show, because I was like, no, but there are white people here.
Trying to hold back a little bit.
Hold back, but also shift the focus towards hey, you actually need to hear this. Right. And yet at the same time, the tightrope of what we were doing. And and I said this at the end of our live show, and I want to reiterate this. I really appreciate being able to hold this space and share these conversations with the two of you. And it wasn't until our second live show, maybe it's because it's in my hometown, maybe it's because it's our second, I don't know. But it wasn't until that moment that I realized, I think, how much of ourselves we give to this show, and how much vulnerability we put out on the show. And in keeping with the idea of being able to center myself in my story, it really means the world to me. And I feel very honored to be able to do this with the two of you, because it's just like, I don't know, it's a lot. And I don't think in the whole conception of the show, I never realized what we do. And I think our listeners get it more even than I did. So thank you for doing this with me. Thank you, listeners, for doing this with us, and for being so gracious and having us in your kitchens and your laundry rooms and your drives, and maybe you're mowing the lawn. I don't know. It seems a little loud, but you do you.
Noise canceling headphones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. But yeah, I thank you for allowing us to hold space for each other and for allowing us into your space.
Agreed. And thank you for saying that. And
Yes.
I agree with what you said. And I was getting a little emotional when you're talking about it. I was like, man, you're making me feel all kinds of my feelings. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
He's all warm and fuzzy. I agree. I didn't really think when we started the show that I would get as much out of this as I have gotten. I think I did think...
Remember the time when you were like, what are even our podcasts? Do people even listen to podcasts?
I mean, I thought we were doing this, because I mean, we did. We talked about doing this for other people, other listeners. We were happy if 1 out of 100 people got something out of it, and we at the same time.
And now tens out of 100.
Yeah, tens of people. But we did talk about ourselves a little bit at the time, and we refocused a little bit, started doing more solos, where we were exploring our own thoughts and stuff as well. And I think all of the stuff that we have done has helped. And yeah, it's definitely, I appreciate everything you said, and I appreciate everything you guys have done as well. So thank you back to you as well. So
yeah. And I mean, if we don't do the show, I don't do literally even a tenth of the things that I'm currently involved in. So probably don't even work at the job that I work at, because, this show has been pivotal in my entire journey of reclamation and acceptance. And yeah, I mean, it is a huge privilege and honor to be able to do this. I was going to say every week, but sometimes, we just take we take some breaks, even though it seems like we're coming out every week.
I was like, yeah, from the listener's perspective, it feels like every week. Hopefully, from our perspective, it's like every month, maybe.
We still talk every week. So it's okay.
But we do try and figure out what days we can record. And it's gotten more hectic. And it's only gotten more hectic because of the show and because of the success that I feel that we've had. Not only what we set out to do originally, which was to tell our stories, but then very quickly telling other people's stories. And not only that, but having people actively be like, hey, can I come on your show and talk about this? And then say, oh, I've never told anybody this before. And that's what I've realized over the course of the show, and which has gone further into my own personal work, is just how privileged we are when somebody gives us any bit of their story. The fact that somebody fills the guest form out and will write answers minus Dan Matthews about deeply personal things. And it's just like, it blows my mind every single time I read a form, or just as soon as we sit down to interview somebody and they just start talking, and I'm just like, wow, like what an honor for you to just have shared that with us. And then trust us to be able to put that out in a thoughtful, meaningful, mindful way. And, I think hopefully we've done that for 110 episodes now.
And hopefully we made you laugh along the way.
Yeah.
No,
we have
I hope
a lot of guests coming up.
Made you serious.
Whoa.
Thank you for everyone who has filled it out. We will get to you as soon as we can.
And here's our interview with
yeah.
Oh my, and this is
what if this was the intro?
This was the intro.
That would be amazing, actually.
That would be ridiculous.
2 hours
I wouldn't
later.
be mad.
I would be.
Hey, we do have some snacks to get to, though.
Okay, I was going to say, we're doing a
get
snacky?
to it. Snack
do some
time.
snacks. Welcome back to the Janchi Show. Eating a food portion.
Eating a food portion.
Eating a food portion.
Or squeezing a food portion.
Squeezing a food, yeah. Squeezing then eating. This is the portion of the show where we eat or drink something. We didn't actually, by the way, explain what Janchi meant in the intro. In the last one.
Dang it. Freaking.
I just remembered that, but that's okay. This is the part where we eat.
Explain it. Explain it in part 2 of the episode.
Exactly.
If you made it this far, you deserve to know.
Janchi means to feast, and so that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to feast. See how that works? Today we're eating a crown candy, and it has a picture of a pear, and I thought was ginger, but I have now translated it, and it's balloon flower. So
balloon flower.
Yeah, it looked like, I don't know. I thought it was ginger. I mean, it looks like ginger, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a root.
It looks like a squid. I thought it was a squid.
Yeah.
And then when you said ginger, I was like, oh, yeah, that's clearly a root.
I mean, it's clearly a root. I mean, it could have been ginseng,
like
could have been ginger. I don't know. But it says it's balloon flower, and I cannot find anything about balloon flower, so I have no clue what it is.
How do I
going to
open
cure
this?
cancer like the burdock root
Maybe
tea that we drink?
Yeah. So yeah, there's a little thing that says "open" here at the top, and it's a candy, and then you just
Does it
squeeze
tear?
it out. It says too. So it says,
okay.
That
so
part right there says "squeeze."
Yeah, I was gonna say the Hangul is bedoraji yanggeng, and then on the right side it says chamoknun.
And on the very bottom it says "push."
What?
Look at the very, very bottom. It says "push" here.
Whoa!
There's a little arrow.
Tiny.
Yeah.
Gold.
Okay, I don't know what
here.
made me just think of this, but I got my hair cut today by the Ajuma who cuts my hair. And
Nice.
I finally worked up the courage to ask if the pictures hanging up were her granddaughters. She says yes. And then she points to, they're like infants in these pictures, or babies. She points to pictures behind them. She's like, oh, they're big now. She goes, I don't like them anymore.
Oh, tragic.
Oh, man.
I was like, damn. I don't know what just made me
Man.
think of that, but I just remember that happened, and I was just like, that was
Cold,
hilarious. And also
Ajuma.
sad.
Jeez.
I was like, I'm glad I didn't
Well.
bring them any presents from Korea.
This looks like a purple jelly. I don't know.
Been in it.
All right.
Bean in
Purple
I
candy.
learned my lesson with the chestnuts, so don't bash it.
Well, I'm just
Too
going to
soon.
go for it.
It smells good.
I definitely taste
What?
the pear.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got
Oh,
pear
yeah.
texture.
So I put it into Google Translate, and it says squeeze and eat pear bellflower yokan. I don't know. I don't know. What
But
Are we
everything on the
recording the video?
ingredient says balloon flower, not bellflower. So I don't know if that's a translation thing. Although it does have ginger in it, so I was right on that. It also has red bean
Not a fan of
paste.
this texture.
Do you like pears?
I do, but I can taste the pear. The taste is
Yeah.
not bad. It's the
it's
texture,
the
that's
texture.
bothering
It's
me.
the red bean texture.
It's a red. It's a cross between a red bean and a pear.
I'm
You're
not gonna
right.
lie. It reminds me of the roasted chestnut in the package that we ate. That texture, like it's cold
Okay.
and it's soft in not a good way.
Is this cold?
Kind
No,
of.
This is sweeter
Alright.
though.
No, I said the taste is good.
Yeah.
The taste is good. The texture is throwing me off.
No, I'm with you. I don't love red bean texture. I know it's like really prevalent in a lot of like Asian foods, East Asian foods, I guess. But it's not my favorite texture or flavor. So I'm glad there's the pear and bellflower / balloon flower.
I like the
something
pear.
or other.
I like the taste of
Yeah.
it. The texture.
So it's
once
really
I get,
flavorful.
once I
Smells really
swallow it, great.
Yeah.
Everything before then, not so great.
Go for it. Sarah has arrived.
It's definitely very different.
Test it out, Sarah.
Yeah, I'd be curious what she thinks. I mean, yes, if you can get past the texture of it being some sort of like mushy, pasty kind of soft bar. Like I'm used to like gummy tapes or
Uh-huh.
What is a
You know,
gummy? Like
if it was a little harder and like a gummy,
like those
You like a
bubble
fruit
gum
roll-up?
like a
things,
fruit bar,
like a fruit roll.
roll up. Yeah. If
Do
it
you
was a
remember
little
the
harder
pink
like
gum
that,
that was
it'd
in
be
a,
perfect.
that was wheeled up like that?
Yes.
Right.
Wow. What a
But
throwback.
I mean, but like you
Shitty's
said,
good.
yeah, the taste is fine.
Oh,
It's
but
just
the texture is killing me.
Yeah, it's really
I
nice.
hate
I'm
put it
getting
in
used to
my
the
mouth.
texture.
I mean, yes, I am getting used to it. If
Yeah.
every red bean thing tasted like this, I'd be able to do it, but it doesn't. So
It's true.
I can't.
The taste is great. Honestly, my brain is confused. It tastes so good, but I hate it in my mouth.
That's how I felt. My brain was confused the first time I ate kimchi because I was like, it's cold and spicy. And it was the first time I'd ever had something cold and spicy before. So, yeah. Okay. Let's jump into ratings. Nathan, what would you give it?
Yeah, this one's a tough one because, I mean,
it's expired.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it
10/26.
is 10/26.
Because we waited too long.
No, well, only a couple. That's only a week.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. It's already.
It is what it is. That's a great way to describe this product.
It is what it is.
It's not what I expected, but it's it's not. I wasn't expecting a fruit roll up. So, and the taste is good. It's tough. I'm gonna give it a 3. 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, I don't think I would be looking for these in the store every time I go or eating them frequently.
Every other time.
But at the same time, if I was really starving and this was just like a quick fruit bar that, I don't know why they call it candy though.
Because it's as sweet as candy, according to probably Korean sensibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's got 25 grams of sugar in it.
Whoa,
so
that's like an American candy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like an American piece of broccoli.
American piece
I'm
of
giving
broccoli.
a 2.5 right down the middle.
All right. It's
that
time to
texture.
fix your math.
Yeah, if people want to listen to me math better, don't listen to any of these episodes prior. Yeah, that texture is just crushing me. But then the taste is so good going down. So that's why I have to put it right down the middle, because I'm like, it's horrible going in, but it's great going further in, I guess I should say.
Gross.
That's not how I want to hear you describe a food.
Well, it's on record now.
Yuck. I need an appropriate sound effect for that.
Wah, wah, wah.
That's not appropriate for a yuck sound. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. It's not bad. I would never choose it, but I wouldn't be annoyed. I would be annoyed if I got this for like Halloween. I'd be like,
oh yeah,
what are we trying to do?
Sure.
But so I thought, like, because it's like, it is firm and a little squishy, I thought it was going to be more like a Fig Newton or something like that. But it's like a Fig Newton where the jelly is on the outside.
Jelly on the
it's just the
inside
jelly
of the
inside.
Yeah.
But hardened
And it's
further.
Yeah. So
with a little more red bean.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not amazing. It's not bad. So yeah, 3 out of 5. I would eat this again and not complain.
Hey, it's got 2 grams of protein.
Whoa, proteins. All
2
right.
grams of protein, 25
That's probably from
grams of sugar.
beans.
25
Yeah, I know.
grams of sugar.
25,000 grams of sugar. We're dead.
25 kilos of
sodium.
sugar.
We've died.
Oh. And I haven't really looked this up. I have no clue what agar is. So
Yikes. This
It's
is where
the new character on the Lord of the Rings show. Oh, that's Adar. Sorry.
crushed it. All right, where can
All
people
right.
find us? Nathan?
you can find me at @NoLock on Instagram. Why? Us? You? Everyone else?
He asked where
Glad
you
you
can
asked.
find us, and you're like, I don't
Oh,
care
you find
about us. You
Well,
can
that's
find me, though. That's the show. Goodbye.
Hey, what happened to centering ourselves? in the story?
Yeah,
You know what?
crushed
That's a
it.
great
You know
point.
what? All right, that's the show.
Absolutely
All
great
right,
point.
we'll see you next week.
That was hilarious.
Okay, now, but for real, though.
Okay, they can find us at Janchi Show on all the social media platforms. They can find us at Facebook at the After Party Janchi Show After Party. I don't know what the title of it is. They can also send us an email to janchishow@justlikemedia.com if they want to talk to us that way. You can also leave us a voicemail by calling 972-877-8867. No. I think it's 972-9. I'm not.
I don't know. It's in the show notes.
You can call that number.
Wait,
in
are
the
you not?
show
Are you not by
notes.
the thing?
No, I'm not by the thing.
Oh no! Hold on. Wait. It is.
What is it?
972-677-8867.
I was close.
You
Go
were
back.
close. In
Go
my
back
head,
on the tape.
in my head, I was like 972-92. Wait, that's my phone number,
Right.
not the. Yeah.
Okay, go to that number if you want to leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. We'll answer your questions, or we'll bask in your praise, or cower under your criticism. I don't know. It could be any one of those things.
Yeah, there's no prompt, so.
If you do like the show, we would love it if you give us a 5-star review or rating or whatever you can on Apple or on Spotify. And if you really like the show, we'd love it if you could support us by going to janchishow.com/store or /support. There are numerous ways that you can support us there.
We have new merch.
We have
there
new
will be
merch.
some new. By the time this launches, there should be some new stuff on there. I promised at the live show.
What kind of
There
new
we go.
stuff is going to be in there? Can we tell them, or was it a secret?
No, we can tell
Well,
them. It wasn't even our idea.
Two of the things that I wanted to put up there is the metal cups. So there will be some metal cups, and then the other one is an apron.
I'm giving credit to Eric. I'm pretty sure he was like, "You guys should have aprons," and I was like, "Oh, we should have aprons." So
yeah, or could have even been Hannah. I don't know. Actually, I'm trying to remember.
Shout out to whoever was in person and told us. We've drank a lot of soju since then.
We did drink a lot of soju. Soju mixed with lemonade. I don't know how I feel about that.
No, that was. Oh wait, did you have lemonade soju? We had yogurt soju down on the.
Oh yeah,
we
we
had
had the yogurt soju.
What?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I did not like it. I was like, "What is this? I want the pure
I
soju.
loved it.
What is
This
this?"
is getting too long for an
You just don't
outro.
you just don't like murky drinks. That's why.
Okay, actually, that might have been. Okay,
I don't
anyways,
know. It
if you want
tasted
to
like
find
7-Up. It was delicious.
I hated it. If you want to find me personally, you can do that at Patrick in the World on Instagram or on LinkedIn or anywhere else.
Nice. If you want to find me, you can find me at KJ Relke, wherever I want to be found on the internet. As a feature, I will say my URL is kjrelke.online, wherever I want to be found on the internet. So, yeah.
There you go.
It's fine.
And the K stands for Caleb.
Yes, that is legally accurate. Thank you, Nathan.
What's the J stand for?
Junte!
Oh, he forgot.
Oh!
He forgot.
What? No, I was gonna say it, but I thought he was gonna.
Nope.
I thought you were
rap it
asking
or something.
Yeah.
Because it's in his song.
Other side note, I got to see Blackpink. That was amazing.
Oh, I forgot.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, frick.
Next
We
time.
gotta have another episode.
You
Shoot.
didn't even post about it.
No, I didn't.
How dare you?
Sorry.
How can I live vicariously through you if you don't
You're
post
right.
about it?
You're right. I was busy living in the moment.
All right. Well, Nathan, you said where you could find yourself earlier, but where can they find you?
Yes, they can still find me at Nowak. Yes,
Right. Perfect.
I'm still there.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
This is our NAAM episode. We probably won't talk about it ever again, but until next week when we talk about other stuff.
No, that's the wrong one.
That was good. That was a good cut-in. That was a good drop. Musical drop
Yikes.
cue.
It has been a long time since we've done an outro.
All right,
Whatever.
you guys
Until
go to
next week, Janchi Heyo.
Hey ho.
Hey yo.